Hello. Today I want to bring you this video, which is basically a video on how to utilize the Northwest pillar properly within the Fortis Colosseum. The reason for this video is basically there's been a bit of a discussion recently regarding which pillar is actually the best one to use, whether it's for learning, going fast, etc. Some people, not a lot of people, but some people have said Southwest might be better, but the more popular pillar, and the one that I personally use, is the Northwest pillar. My opinion's been asked on the content just due to currently at the time of recording having the most kill count in the game, so I have a lot of experience with the content. So I figured I'd bring out this video. It's sort of like a walkthrough / guide kind of video. I'm going to be doing a run and saying my thought process out loud as the run goes on, and just trying to show off some things that you can do on the Northwest pillar that potentially people may not know about, as a lot of the information that's been going around is mainly information that was found out within the first week. But there's a lot more things that have, come to light since then. There's a lot more ways to deal with the waves on the Northwest pillar, so you don't really have to leave the pillar. And I want to put out this disclaimer as well. This is not a video to say that a Southwest pillar is bad in any way. If you currently use Southwest pillar, continue to use Southwest pillar. Unless obviously you want to get faster in that, because I do believe Northwest is a little bit faster than Southwest, just due to some reasons that I'll go over in a minute. But this is not a video to say Southwest is, outright bad, the worst pillar, don't use it. If you're someone that uses Southwest, continue to use it. But maybe after this video, you might want to give Northwest a little bit of a try. There are some things that Southwest does good, and it does better than the Northwest pillar, but the things it has over Northwest pillar aren't enough to warrant usage over it for like a whole run. Ideal world, you'd use both. You'd use Northwest for the first 6 waves, then there's an argument to use Southwest for the waves 7 through 9, and then you would go back to Northwest on 10 and 11. But I just use Northwest as it's what I'm comfortable with. I don't really leave the pillar. And now to go on to setups, this is my personal setup. So I'll find my pre-pots real quick. This is what I would normally take as a setup. It's basically just a max melee setup with a max range setup, and then 4-way shadow to deal with the berserkers. Burning claws over dragon claws. They're a little bit better than dragon claws. Aldomor for draining the defense, and obviously T-bow is like in case I ever need to long range things. It's fulfilling in ticks. T-bow is not necessary. You don't even need to take a range switch. You can take a melee switch and just melee camp. But for the purpose of this video, because it is aimed towards more so people that want to try to get faster, but there are also going to be tips in this video as well that may help you to achieve your first quiver. So I'm going to run this setup that I normally do, but I'm not going to do what I normally do in the runs, which are made more so like speedrun strategies, just to show off how to use the pillar properly, and that it's not just an outright bad pillar in comparison to Southwest. This guide already assumes that you know somewhat of the basics regarding the content, like you know everything attacks on the 5-tick timer, you understand B5 tile and things like that. You understand when the reinforcements spawn. But there are some little things that I want to go over before I do start a run, so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to just go over a few things that I would like to make clear before I do actually start the run. It's going to go a bit silent here as I explain things. Ignore the Southwest bad tile. That's just the B5 tile, but for the Southwest pillar. So a few things to mention before we get started is this tile, this one right here that I'm going to, this is known as a B5 tile. I believe a tile here, so on this square, and then 2 tiles here, this is known as the AB spawn tile. This is used in a video by someone called Pecan Bread that basically uploaded a video on how to deal with double south spawns, because double south spawns tend to be what kills learners and beginners the most. But this is the tile that I would recommend using. It's the B5 tile. And the idea of this tile is once you've clicked continue to the next wave, so once you've picked your modifier and you click continue, on the 5th tick after clicking continue, you will click to run behind the pillar. You can go here, and this will just in an ideal world, it lures everything behind the pillar here, so it all stacks up there. And then obviously if you get double south spawns, you will be hit with a double south spawn. But a really easy solution to dealing with double south spawn is just you run to here. If you see you've got a double south, you wait here. Don't move around with the Fremenics. Just tank them, just kill them. And then if you did say you got a ranger and then a major here, they will slowly walk up to you. The ranger will see you first, and then about 2 ticks later, the major will see you. And that is how you ideally always after tick double south spawns. But We'll get into more ways to deal with that as I actually get into a run. But yeah, this is just standard information I think people should know. This is the B5 tile, this is the main tile we're going to use. And another thing is if you're someone that's going for their first quiver, the main thing you need to do is 1, respect the waves. The only truly easy waves are probably 1, 2, and 4. Like those are the ones we could have. But like wave 3 is dangerous. And even though the number seems small, 5, 6, etc., they are dangerous waves and you need to respect them, because the moment you start respecting them is when you die. So yeah, just respect the waves and always try to isolate monsters. This is why we use the B5 tile, because we're blocking as many spawns as we can, because when you stood here, you're blocking quite a few spawns. You're blocking the one that would spawn here, you're blocking one that spawns around here and here. So you're blocking 3 NPCs, so you're trying to isolate as many NPCs as possible to have as little things on you as possible, like at the start of waves. Because if you've got multiple things on you at the start of the wave and you're a beginner, you're not that comfortable with it, you're most likely going to die. And a plugin that you should probably install is the Fortis Colosseum plugin. You see up here how it's got my splits. It'll display a time of each of the waves. It's just called Fortis Colosseum. It's on Plugin Hub. Install that, and then you can mess about with the settings and that. And there's a bunch of useful tools that you can use in that plugin. But the main reason I have it turned out is basically the reinforcements will always spawn at 39.6 seconds. So you can always keep an eye out on when they will be spawning, basically. Right, so I'll leave. And we'll get ready to potion up and get into a run. As I said, this is more sort of like a walkthrough, so I might be waffling quite a bit here, but I do promise it'll have some useful information and some situations that arise. I'll be able to talk through my personal way of solving them. For the purpose of this video, as I said, I'm going to use the B5 tile just to show it off. And in regards to setups that you might want to take, you don't have to take this setup. If you're someone that likes to take the Venator bow and range and things like that, you can bank the mask and the Venator ring, and that'll give you more supplies. You can forego the Inquisitor's mace. This is just very, very niche quality of life to kill the archer. Save a tick instead of scything it. You could bank this, bank the Elden Ball and bring a hammer. And then the hammers are free, bring it through. And then you don't need a 4-way mage switch. You can take a 1-way trident or sang, because no matter what you do, you'll only ever 2-hit the berserker, and then that can give you extra supplies. I do recommend to always be on the Arceus spellbook, even if you're learning, because Death Charge with an SGS will give you a lot of healing, especially when if you are someone that brings an SGS, there's nothing wrong with that. But do ensure that you are using it on the archer and nothing else. Unless you're full spec and you're wasting spec regen, try and always limit your SGS to on the archer, because that's where you're gonna get the most benefit out of it. Okay, so I think I've gone over all like the beginning things, so I guess it's time now to just pop up and do a run, and I will talk you guys through how I deal with things using the Northwest Pillar. Okay, so I'm gonna potion up, take out my supplies, run in, and we get underway. Wave 1 is fairly simple, you don't need to do anything fancy, but from wave 2 onwards, I'm gonna start using the B5 tile. Okay, so I run up here. So what I like to do is, actually I'm gonna run over here because I'm gonna be using the B5 tile. Drop 2 potions, because if you bring these runes in your rune pouch, this is runes for thralls, and then we have the death runes in there because we bring a shadow. You take the runes out. It's basically smuggling soul runes, because Death Charge is very good for this piece of content. So now we have Death Charge because we smuggled it out. And if you are someone that's using a Sang staff, rather than have the bloods in here, you would put the souls in there and then take the bloods out of your Sang. And if you're someone that's using a trident, you would have souls instead of deaths and take the deaths out of your trident. That's how you would smuggle it in. So always pick Blasphemy on the first wave. First wave is no problem. Use some of the through. So what I like to do is just pop, and then we can Venator bow Shaman. So wave 1, very simple. Just kill the Fremenix, kill the Shaman. Easy. And as I said, respect the waves. Even though it's only going to be wave 2, we want to respect the waves. So my choices of invocations aren't the best here. I wouldn't normally... This would be a reset for me for the purpose of this video. I'm going to take Solar Flare. I don't recommend taking Solar Flare. I do class it as a bad invocation, but just for this, I'm going to take it. So I know immediately how I'm going to deal with this wave. So I'm standing on this line here to purposely drag the Ranger south of the pillar. If I had gone anywhere, but if I'd not stayed on this line, if I'd gone here or here, they would have stacked up. But because I stayed on this line, I managed to get the Ranger south of the pillar. Now I can go ahead and Burning Fortis. And we'll be doing that a lot. A big part of using this pillar is optimal pathing at the start of the waves, like standing in the right tiles and pathing correctly to learn the NPCs the way you want to learn them. Bad pathing at the start of the waves and bad positioning can cause a lot of problems and a lot of unwanted stacks in the later / more dangerous waves. But as I said, I will talk through my plans and what I plan to do at the start of the waves and how I'm going to solve it. So again, wave 2 is done. We're not too worried about the time. So here, again, it's what he likes to do is upgrade your invocations. So I'm going to take Blasphemy. Blasphemy is always good. If you see Blasphemy, take it. Okay. I didn't start on the B5 tower there, but this is perfectly fine. Okay, so now I can see a situation that's coming up where, you know, you might be like, I'm fucked here because I've got Shaman there, Ranger there, and a Ranger here. Like, how do I deal with this? So we're going to use this tile. This tile is exactly 11 tiles away from this Shaman when it's behind a 3x3. So what we do, go to the tile, and then immediately run in and flick our prayer. So now what we've done is we've off-ticked the 2 NPCs here, and we've also lured this Ranger into melee distance south of the pillar. There are multiple ways to go about that, but in my experience, that is the easiest. And then we can just run ahead. I'll show it off again after I deal with these. But feel free to rewind and look at what I did. And that's this tile here. Very useful information to know, I feel like. And it's part of utilizing Northwest Pillar properly. You know, you may have heard that it's not possible to off-tick NPCs going north of the pillar. And normally that's true, but there are certain ways around it. It just requires a little bit more brain power. We're going to get through this wave 3 here. And then I'll show it up again. So what we do is we stand here. As soon as we go to this tower, the Ranger will see us, and we click here, then click the Ranger, and immediately flick our prayer to Mage. So we click here, click the Ranger, Mage, pray, and then back to range. And now they're off to it. Okay, well, that died really quickly, but you get the idea. But it's that tile there, and it's only used for when you've got a 3x3 here, and the Shaman's behind it, and you've got something south. Okay, so now we're going on to wave 4. Wave 4 generally pretty free wave. We're going to take Blasphemy again, as it's trying to upgrade our Solar Flare, and we don't like that. So this wave is pretty much done. The Shaman will be south of us. We just run around here. There's nothing wrong with going to the north side of the pillar. It's useful, it's there for a reason. And what we do, we just get rid of the Manticore. And then once the Manticore is dead, we will move back around this way and kill the Shaman and start preparing for the reinforcements to spawn. Because these reinforcements on wave 4, the Shaman will spawn with the Jaguar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely let them spawn. And then, yeah, so these will get trapped east of the pillar. It doesn't always happen, sometimes they can wrap around north, but we were completely safe no matter what there. And easy as that, wave 4 is solved. Obviously, the first 4 waves aren't really too difficult. It will definitely get a bit more interesting as we go on. Wave 6 onwards is when things can start to get really spicy. Okay, we're going to have to go Solar Flare 2 here because, yeah, it really loves to send upgrades your way. So again, I need to remember to go onto the B5 tower. So here, what is really nice about this is when the Mage is behind the Manticore like that, it will actually slide down. So now, what we do, we go here. And this is a really good tactic. This Ranger got stuck behind this pillar. And because this Manticore is Mage, I know they're off-ticked. When there's an NPC stuck behind this pillar, like this Ranger, as long as you go from any side here to this tile that I'm currently on, or one of these two within, I think it's 2 ticks, it will always automatically off-tick with whatever in the back. So in that case, it was a Manticore. If that Manticore had been range, I would have to run back around here and reset and just drag the Ranger in to the point where they would both see me on the same tick. But because it was Mage, I already knew that I didn't have to do anything because the Ranger's 1 tick behind. It would hit me as the Manticore ranges me. And that's a very useful bit of tech to understand. And it basically sets up auto off ticks for you, and it's very useful for the late waves, and it's very useful when you have a Manticore. If you have a Manticore at the back here, it might come up later on. But if you have a Manticore here, like say it was reversed, say I had the Manticore there and the Ranger there, no matter what the Manticore starts with, it will always off-tick. So if it just was reversed and the Ranger was here and the Manticore was Mage, I never have to worry about it because I know it's going to off-tick. Because the Manticore will always attack me one tick after whatever is in the front. So that is a really bit of useful information that is good to know, I feel like. Okay, we're getting... Okay, these are better Imbos. These Imbos are better. So, if I'm a learner in this situation, I'm going Frailty. But as I'm quite experienced with the content, I'm happy to choose Doom here, but I would recommend take Frailty here. And then it's Wave 6. Wave 6 is considered probably one of, if not the most... So again, it's all about positioning there. I could have made this wave a lot easier for myself, but I purposely scuffed it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go north. And if this Manticore is Mage, it's completely fine. We're fine here. Okay, so it's range, so we don't have to do anything here. Because they're all on the same tick. And it starts with range. But had this Manticore started Magic, my plan would have been to go back round here, kill the Shaman, wait for the reinforcements, and then it would have been a standard off-tick. So say I had both Rangers alive and the Manticore. I explained that after I've dealt with the reinforcements. But as I said, we got quite lucky that the Manticore was ranged, so we didn't have to do much. It was already settled for us. But I'll explain the situation had it been Manticore starting with Mage. But Wave 6 normally one of the most dangerous waves, like definitely top 3 hardest waves. And that's not a joke or anything either. Wave 6 is known as one of the most difficult waves. But okay, so what I would have done, had this Manticore been a Mage, and we had Ranger, Manticore right now. On this tile, when you go to south, so this is a standard pillar off-tick when you stand here. So I'll show this off real quick here. So when I go out here, it's going to be Manticore sees me, then one tick later the Ranger sees me, and then that's a nice little off-tick. Had that Manticore been Mage. But if you stand here, when you do the same thing and go to south, so you go from here to here, the first two will see you one tick later. So say you have a... So say in my case, I had Ranger, and then a Manticore at the back. And the Manticore was starting Mage. If I go 2 down here, the first 2 NPCs will not see me, but the one in the back will see me straight away. So I would be Maged, and then the Rangers would both attack me on the same tick the Manticore ranges me. So if I go out, these 2 will not see me until one tick later. And there you go. So if you ever have a... So in that situation, you had Manticore, Mage, and then 2 Rangers in front of it. You would simply just go from this tile to south, the Manticore would see you, and then one tick later, the Rangers would see you, and they would all sync up. Just remember to put your range prey on in between the Manticore cycle. And then we still got some waves to go, like we're getting into the more interesting waves now, so we'll get, hopefully I'm looking to get some spicy situations come up, so I can obviously show off how to deal with them. Voice inspect here, so I'm just gonna hit a triple zero with my Burning Claws. And I said the Burning Claws are better than Dragon Claws. It's only slightly, and sometimes they do let you down. Okay, so now we're getting into Wave 7. And with Wave 7, the changes is that the reinforcements will now be a Minotaur, and the Minotaur works... It's a little bit weird, but basically I believe... I might be wrong on this, but I believe if a Minotaur can see the center of an NPC within 6 tiles, and the NPC is under 75% HP, it will heal. But Minotaurs also have a little bit... There's ways around that, where if you're melee distance of a Minotaur, it will prioritize attacking you over healing. And I can try and show that off in some places here. Alright, I'm going to go Solar Flare 3, just because I don't like Re-Entry and I don't like Quartet. And Solar Flare 3, it's not great, but I'm going to go for it. And again, we go to the B5 tile. And we move. And this wave is very interesting. So this may... So as I say here, I'm going to go from here, and the Ranger will see me a tick before the Mage does. So now, if this Manticore is Mage, we're fine. Okay, so this is great. This Manticore is range, so this is going to be a standard Z-step off-tick. I wouldn't recommend this. If you're a beginner and you're using Torva or Bandos, and you don't have the Relentless invocation, you are fine to tank Rangers or Manticore range hits. You are very tanky to them. It's not a bad strat, and it will make your life a lot easier just trusting in your gear using the armor what it's made for. Like, you know, gear has defense bonus for a reason. It's to tank. And if you're a learner, you're most likely going to have a lot of supplies. You know, use those supplies. Don't be afraid to tank NPCs. They're not, you know, they're not going to do that much damage to you. If you start taking a bit of damage, run back behind the pillar, reset, get your HP high, and then off tick again. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to showcase what is called a Z-step off tick. And because it's Manticore Major Ranger and the Manticore starts with range, we have to hide. So we have to step out, let the Ranger see us, hide here for 3 ticks, and then step out and then let the Major see us. And what that would do is, well, when we go out and the Major hits us 1 tick later, the Ranger and the Manticore will both attack on the same tick. So what that does is it syncs up the Ranger's attack with the Manticore's range attack. So I'll demonstrate it here. So wait 3 ticks, then we go out, and now the Manticore and the Ranger are on the same tick, and you just flick between them. Just flick between them. So it'd be Mage Prey, then Range Prey, then we put Mage Prey back on, and then Range, and then it's the Manticore. Just always. So what I'm doing in this situation is I'm watching the Major. So I was watching the Major there and nothing else. Feel free to rewind that and play it as many times as you want, but that's effectively a Z-step. It is probably the spookiest off-tick to set up. But it really just looks a lot harder than it actually is, and a bit of practice you get it now. And then you get confident with them and you'll be able to pull them off quicker. But as I said, you don't need to do that. If you really want to, you've got a bunch of supplies, you know, you've got an SGS potentially. You're very tanky if you're in Torva or Bandos with a face guard. You can tank Rangers hits and you can tap Manticore. So if I chose not to off-tick there, or like not to Z-step, what I would have done is gone from here to here, off-tick the Ranger and the Major, and just tank the Manticore's range hit. And just tried to kill it as fast as possible. I would have dumped specs on it. And just tried to DPS it down. Okay, but we're going on to wave 8. Wave 8 is another very spooky wave. So, okay, this wave is free. So what's going to happen here? As I mentioned earlier on one of the waves, this is very easy to deal with. So we go out here, and this Manticore is auto off-ticked. We do not have to worry about what it is. It's automatically off-ticked. So the Ranger hits us, we flip the Manticore, and put Range Spray back on. So Ranger hits us, flip Manticore. It's always behind. Whenever you have a Manticore in the back like that, it is always behind whatever's in the front. And now, because it starts Mage, it's very easy. So now we get to kill this Ranger for free. And we are chilling. Now, you may not have the DPS if you're someone that doesn't have a Scythe and maybe you're using a Fang or a Soul Reaper Axe, something like that. It's still worth it to do that, because what it will do is it will drag this Ranger that was here, and it drags it to melee distance of the pillar, and you're completely safe. And because of the way the NPCs were stacked up, you had the Ranger there and the Major there, even if you drag the Manticore down, so say right now we had Ranger, Major, Manticore, but the Ranger was still there. Say I didn't kill the Ranger in time. It's fine. Just go out this way, because the Manticore starts with Mage. You go out there, the Major and Manticore will be on the same tick. So you just literally, you know, there's no off-ticking that needs to be done like this. Like, you know, I don't need to off-tick this. I just go out because it starts with Mage, and then just put Mage Prayer in between the Manticore flicks. And that is that. That is all you need to do. That's all you need to know. That's it. A lot of these stacks in the Colosseum, they just look very frightening. But if you take the time to dissect it and think about your options, especially when you're going for your first cape, you're not in a rush. You know, you really find out that they just look scary. They're not as, you know, it's not as difficult as it seems. Not as difficult as it looks, I should say. Okay, we're going into Wave 9. Wave 9 is usually considered, at least from my perspective, I like to call it a freeload wave. Because it's 2 Manticores and a Ranger, it's very easy to isolate the NPCs here. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a little trick that you can do that a lot of people don't know about here. Right, so we've got 2 Manticores, and the Manticores are starting Mage. Probably thinking, this is impossible, I can't off-tick this, you know, I should probably just kill this Manticore, then wait. But Manticores work very weirdly, and as long as you let this Manticore fire at least 2 orbs at you, you can do this. So what I just did there was, as long as the Manticores don't see you a tick apart, they will function like they normally do if 2 see you at the same time. which allows you to get a lot of off-tick opportunities in situations that you would normally think are impossible. So I'll do it again. What I'll do is... Actually, I'll kill this Manticore because that Solar Flare is a bit of a problem. But you can rewind what I did there. But basically what I did was I waited for this Manticore to attack me. I let this one charge up. I went out and let that one charge up because it needs to be charged for it to work. So I went out late charge. It was safe to do it because it's not charged. Prey range, run back before it starts attacking you. So what you do, you come back when they're both charged, let this one attack you, let it mage you, let it range you, and then go around, like flick the Manticore, then go around, start with prey range, and then flip this Manticore. This Manticore will attack you a tick after the ranger does, or around 2 ticks after the ranger does. So again, this is just standard pillar off tick. You go this way, you go from the center middle to south, the one in the back sees you first, and it's just a simple prayer flipping. I maybe should have brought an SGS or something because my supplies are looking a bit low, but it's fine. Maybe summon on the through. I'm really not using my special attack as well, and I really should be, but it's fine. Okay. Average site behavior, 000. Hopefully I've got enough charges in it. Yeah, we got plenty. Okay, wave 10. I consider wave 10, it's wave 11, 10, and 6 that tend to be the hard waves. So 10 is when you're starting off on your actual hard wave. So here, I would probably recommend learners to go, Manti Mayhem here. Obviously it makes them a lot more dangerous, but you know, it's not going to affect you. Doom 2 is quite dangerous for learners, and Frailty 3 is very dangerous for learners. So Manti Mayhem is just the correct choice there. So we go to the B5 tile, we go here. Okay. So again, what we can do here, if you stand here, you drag the ranger, and the ranger will come within 4 tiles of the pillar when you stand here. That drags it closer, and then we go here. If the Manticores are range, we're fine. Okay, the Manticores are range. So you don't have to do a single thing here. Had they been mage, I would have gone back behind the pillar. Had they been mage, I would have gone back behind the pillar. I would have explained how they work. But unfortunately, we got good luck there, so, you know. Okay, the reinforcements on 10 and 11. This is usually what gets a lot of people killed. But as you can see there, I noticed that the shaman would just line itself up where it would be off-tick with the ranger. This part is what, you know, a lot of people say Northwest is bad for this reason, where, you know, you can't always guarantee that shaman will be behind the Minotaur. It's just RNG. But it's really not too scary. Just look at when it spawns. And if you can notice that it's going to attack you, like in between attacks, and it's going to be fine, you're going to be able to off-tick things. You don't have to do anything. But if it's going to attack you the same tick as, like, so say that ranger, it was going to sync up and attack the ranger. I would wait for the ranger to attack me, and then go to one of these 3 tiles that I'm walking between right now. And this will allow the shaman to see you early. So what you would do is you would wait for the ranger to attack you, and then run to one of these 3 tiles with Prey Mage on, and let the shaman attack you, and then that way you've off-ticked them as well. So it's not too scary. If I get it next wave, that would be ideal, because I could show it off. But dealing with the shaman on the Northwest pillar is really no problem. So again, here, this is just simple. The Manticore starts with range. No real problem there. I kind of messed it up a little bit, but we're fine. That could have gone bad. I could have off them there, but we are fine. We live to fight another day. Oh. I'm really good at clicking the wrong prayers, I'll tell you that much. Okay, we're coming on to wave 11 now, the hardest wave, as most would put it. Manti Mayhem 2 here is completely fine. You should have some Sampus or some form of Venom cure, like whether it's a Serpalm, or you just bring an anti-venom in. Because there's no real difference between Manti Mayhem 1 or 2. It's just they venom if you do take any damage. Okay, we got to wave 11, we go to the B5 tower. We run here. Alright, so now we've got a pillar-to-pillar stack. And pillar-to-pillar stacks are never fun. And this is... Okay. Okay, no, we're fine, we're fine. Okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. So this is like one of the stacks that Northwest is known to be bad for. This is what they call, I think it's like, I don't know, a cock stack or something like that. But I'm gonna wait for the reinforcements because I want to deal with this properly. Again, this could have been completely avoided had I pathed better at the start of the wave. So you should never get into this situation if you're pathing better at the start of the waves. This was purposefully scuffed because of how I pathed at the start of the wave. So I'm going to kill this Minotaur. This makes it even better, by the way. So I'm going to kill this Minotaur. And then we are going to deal with the atrocity that is whatever this is behind the pillar. A lot of beginners and that will get themselves into this situation. So we're going to have to, you're gonna come across it at some point. Now, the easiest thing you can do, and there's no shame in this, is just running to the next pillar. Realistically, if these Manticores are range, we can deal with the whole thing north of the pillar. If they're mage, we're going to be tanking some damage. That's just, you know, that's just an unfortunate side effect to a Northwest pillar, but hopping pillars not a bad strategy. You know, if someone tells you hopping pillars is a bad strategy, if you're just trying to get your first cape, it doesn't matter. Do what you need to do to survive and isolate the monsters. So a simple solution is just run straight to this pillar and it will stack things behind the pillar where everything's solvable. But because I'm daring, and what you can also do as well is, say you're in this situation, you're like, oh no, there's a thing. These shockwaves are really weak. And you're in very tanky gear. Bandos Torb is very tanky to range. You've probably got a lot of supplies because, you know, you're taking setups that allow you to have more brews. Simply just do this. Showcase tanking. I took no damage until the Manticore hit me. The only time I wouldn't recommend that is if you have Relentless. But Bandos and Torb is very tanky to a Ranger. I think in this setup here, the Rangers have like a 1 in 4 about chance to actually do any damage to you. So the odds are in your favor. But obviously just be very careful about it. Like you might have Frailty 3. And if you've got Relentless, I don't recommend doing that. Had you got Relentless in that situation, I think it would have been best to just pillar hop, just run to the south pillar and let them stack up. Or what some people like to do is run from northwest to southeast, and then that like destacks everything. But as I said, you're in gear, that's tanky. You're not going to take very much damage if you know, you don't have Relentless. You got a lot of supplies you can heal up with. As I said, the Major was at the front, so I could just go out and easily deal with that. Obviously, that might not always be the case. The Ranger might be in the front, the Major might in the back. If the Major was in the back there, I would have just gone to this pillar. There is no shame in pillar hopping, especially if you're going for your first quarter. Don't let anyone tell you that it's wrong to pillar hop, basically. It's a strategy that is used, and the goal when you're going for your first cape is just get the completion. You don't care about anything else. You just want to get the completion. Okay. So now we're going into the boss. The boss, learning it is very difficult. It snowballs very quickly. I like to compare it to like Warden P3 when you're learning Insanity, where when you take damage, you then tend to step into the next part where he's about to attack, and you continue to take damage. It's very similar here. You know, person will be hit by his spear, and then rather than staying where they just were, which is now the safe spot, they will move, trying to adjust and go back into a danger spot. So it's very important just to, you know, calm yourself, you know, and just ensure you're doing the right thing. If you are taking damage, just staying still and staying in that spot and going to where you just took the damage from. It's very similar to Insanity in that regard. Okay. I'll try to explain it as best I can, but there are some things that you need to know about Soul. So at 90%, 75%, 50, 25, 10%, there'll be some chat dialogue, and he will spawn beams and then leave pools of sand around the arena, which makes your movement and stuff harder to deal with. He's got a couple of types of auto attacks. He has a spear attack and he's got a shield attack. Those are like his auto attacks. The first spear attack will be a 2-prong spear, and then the second one will be a 3-prong spear. And then he can do a shield attack, and the shield attack will just be a cover the whole arena except for one tile behind you. And then the second shield attack is cover the whole arena except for 2 tiles behind you. And then he's got 2 special attacks, which is the grapple mechanic, where he targets a piece of your equipment. And you have to click it to negate any damage. And he's got another one, which is a triple attack, which here disable your prayer. And you have to turn it on the perfect tick, and then you have to turn it off again in order to complete the mechanic. And that's basically it for Soul's attacks, and it's just a matter of getting used to those attacks and then just DPSing him down until he dies, basically. And then at 10%, it's like the enrage phase where every mechanic is sped up. Oh, and every time you phase him as well, certain things, it's like crystals spawn in the arena, and they fire lasers off periodically, and they can do up to 75 damage, I believe. But right, stop wasting you guys' time, and we'll get into the boss fight. And Alex, may as well go. Volatility is a free invocation on the boss wave, as long as you remember you've got it in your move. But I like to start the fight off with an Aldemar. And we just stand still, and we just take 1 step back. That's spear 1. Spear 2, so we go back that way because it's 3-pronged. It's 1 diagonal behind us. Spear 1 now. What I like to do is always have my mouse hovered over where I want to dodge next. So it's shield, so we go 1 back. And always have your mouse ready. Okay, it's 90%, so he spawns some pools. So I like to walk him a little bit down, just to give myself a bit more space. And something to note as well, after every time you phase him, so at that point when he does the pulls, he will default back to a spear attack. So he's going to spear attack me here. And because he did spear 2 before I phased him, I know it's spear 1. That's shield 1.
I'll cut your feet off!
Again, that's the grapple mechanic, so you just gotta read what he says above his head, or if you're someone that likes to use the chat box, you can use the chat box. So he just did spear 1, so we go there. Solar Flare is really bad for the boss. So he did spear 2, we go to spear 1. Again, spear 1, spear 2. Shield 1.
You can't win!
And again, he's always gonna spear. After every single time these pools land, he defaults to a spear. And it doesn't resave. So if you did spear 1, then you phase him. Okay, this is the parry mechanic. Just always, it starts at 4 tick. The second attack will be 3 tick. And if he's above 50%, the third attack will be 3 ticks after the second one. So he's going to spear me here. And because he did shield 2 last, I know it's spear 1. So spear 1, dodge the laser. Spear 2. Shield 1. Shield 2.
Let's end it.
And I know he's gonna spear me, so I'm not worried at all about what he does. It's gonna be a spear, and it's gonna be spear 1. And parry, so 4 tick, 3 tick, and then because he's under 50%, 4 tick after the second hit, sorry. Now I know it's spear 1. Now I may have made that seem a lot easier than it actually is. But the fight when you get down to it is quite simple, and it is the easier part of the content. It's similar to Inferno, where at the start Zuck might be the hard part, but the more comfortable you get, you actually find out that like Triple Jads and Zuck are the easy part, and the waves are the hard part. It's the exact same here. So what I wanted to say as well about the triple attack that I got twice, but I got them both from the 50%. So initially that triple attack, when you get it above 50%, the first attack will take 4 hits to land. Then the second and third are both 3 ticks apart. So it'll be 4 tick, 3 tick, 3 tick. If he's under 50% and he does that attack, it'll be 4 tick, 3 tick, 4 tick. The last attack, when he's under 50%, is delayed by 1 tick. And that catches a lot of people out. But the best way to do that is just practice it. I'm going to put some things down in the description, such as like the Soul boss fight simulation, and some other useful tools and videos and things like that people can use. But this is basically just a little video, a little walkthrough on how to use this pillar effectively while doing your Colosseum runs. The reason I do prefer it is better for speedruns, and I like to go fast. I'm not someone that loves speedrunning, but I like to do content efficiently as I can do, and Northwest is a bit more efficient than Southwest. It just sets up Venator stacks a little bit better, like natural Venator stacks with the reinforcements and that. They just form better, and you save precious seconds basically, and you always want to save the seconds when you're trying to be as efficient as possible. But I do hope this walkthrough helped some players out. I know Wave 11, the stack wasn't ideal, but again, these are things that can all be negated by better pathing at the start of the waves. You just got to path a little bit better and just not get yourselves into these situations. Like using this line here, this one over here, this will help negate. Like if you start the wave and you run here, like especially if you don't have double south spawn. So you don't have double south spawn, being here is completely fine. That will help negate a lot of the bad stacks that you see. Like, you know, how I got that one stack on wave 11 where it was like here, here, and then two behind it. Or something similar like that. If I'd stayed here the entire time the wave was spawning and waited for them, it would have just been a simple pillar to pillar stack. And I would have just ran south, basically. Or there's ways around it that I could have shown it off many ways. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. If I have any more clips or anything that I can show off from like certain stacks and things like that, I will be sure to do so. But I hope this was at least somewhat informative for some players that have been like trying to get better, whether it's like speedrunning or just trying to get their first quiver and they don't know quite which pillar to use. But as I say, I'm not here to say that the southwest pillar is bad, even though that tile may disagree with what I'm saying here. If you're someone that, you know, gets consistent kills and stuff and you're happy using this pillar, then there's no reason to change really. If you're happy using it, then go ahead. But maybe you're someone that has struggled on the southwest pillar and you're looking to see if northwest might be, because I've had people come in, because I stream, and people have come into my stream and they've said that, you know, they've been using southwest pillar, then they watched my stream, they started using northwest, and then within a couple of attempts, you know, they were getting to the boss and even got their quiver. Because I do believe it is a lot safer. You get to safety a lot quicker using the northwest pillar. And that's really useful for learners, because as I say, the main thing you need to be doing as a learner is isolating the NPCs. You want to have as little NPCs on you as possible. And Northwest is better at doing that than Southwest is. And also, again, you don't get, when you're using Southwest, things don't get trapped behind this pillar. Whereas when you're using Northwest, things get trapped behind this pillar. And this sets up auto optics for you when you go north. Like, always be confident in going north and dragging things melee distance and setting up optics from this direction as well. Because the way you off-tick things from this direction going here, you can also do it from here to here. So don't be scared to go north with the pillar. You know, I'm just kind of rambling on right now, but yeah, if I have any more clips or anything, I'll put them at the end. Just show off some like stacks or anything like that. If there are no clips, just know I was a bit lazy with it and it didn't happen. But I do plan to make a full in-depth guide some point in the future, which goes over a lot more stacks, Venator stacks even, and just a lot more tech and a lot more situations and things like that. And I'm considering uploading a budget run to show off the Northwest pillar while on a budget as well, because I believe the majority of players watching this video don't have access to mega rares and things like that. So I think if I get a run out with me just doing a budget run with like a Fang or a Soul Reaper axe or things like that, you know, it'll show it off even more and help even more players. But yeah, I hope this was an informative video. If it does help anyone out, let me know, feel free. And don't forget to stop by my stream as well, because I stream Colosseum a lot when I am live. It's pretty much the main content that I do, although I have been doing some other things lately. But yeah, link to my stream will be in the description. But yeah, again, enjoy your quiver. If this video did manage to help you manage to get your quiver, or my streams have managed to help you get your quiver and things like that, I'm happy. And well done to you, because it is a very hard piece of content and it does require quite a bit of dedication. But to end off the video, I'll show you guys my collection log. Nice little collection log, I feel like. It's a very fun piece of content. It makes a lot of money. Definitely worth getting into. But yeah, take care, guys. As safe, if there's any clips or anything, that'll be at the end of the video. Or if not, I was too lazy. But yeah, take care. Bye-bye.